Hi children, in this video we are going to discuss about structure of tooth and dental caries. First we shall discuss about structure of tooth children. If you look into the structure of this tooth children, it consists of three parts. The first part is the part which is exposed, we call it as crown, and the part which is hidden by the gum, it is called as neck, and the part which is embedded in the bone, it is called as root. So let us label it children. So this is a part children which is exposed. So this is called as crown. Okay, so this part we call it as what children? Crown. And the next part which is what? Hidden by the gum. Okay, so let us say that this is gum children. Okay, or this is gum. This part we call it as neck. And the third part which is embedded in the bone, we call it as root. We call it as root. So this part, that means what's the entire this part we call it as root children. Okay, and this one is jawbone. This is jawbone. If a tooth is embedded in the bone, in the jawbone, then such type of teeth we call it as thecodont teeth. Thecodont teeth. So here the human teeth are called as thecodont teeth because the root, the teeth are embedded in the jawbone. Then they are called as thecodont teeth children. So if you see the structure of this one, the outer visible part of this tooth, we call it as enamel. So this is enamel children. Enamel. If we study about this enamel children, so this enamel is secreted. It is secreted by cells called as amyloblast. Amyloblast. And this enamel, it is a shiny material. Isn't it? It is a bright and a shining material. Got it? Which is made up of salts of calcium. Salts of calcium, that is calcium phosphates. Calcium phosphates. And fluorides also. Got it? So if a required amount of fluorides are seen, then it is helpful for the formation of this enamel. If excess of fluorides are seen, then we call it as mottling. What is that children? We call it as mottling. So what is this mottling? So this mottling, it is because of excess of fluorides. Excess of fluorides children. That results in damage of this enamel. So it will, it will damage the enamel. That condition we call it as mottling. Got it? And here, and one more important thing is children, this is the hardest substance. This is very important children, hardest substance. Okay, so it is harder than bone. Harder than bone also. So this is the hardest substance. This is about what children? Enamel. So enamel is an exposed visible part of the tooth children. It is secreted by amyloblast and it's a shiny material and it is made up of what children? Salts of calcium, that is calcium phosphates and fluorides. Because of excess of fluorides, then the enamel will be damaged children. That condition we call it as a mottling, and it is the hardest substance children. Got it? And next the second part children, which is just below that enamel, we call this one as a dentine, which is in blue in color children, that is dentine. Okay, so this, when we talk about this dentine children, this dentine is secreted, it is secreted by odontoblast. Odontoblast. If you see the color, this is of pale yellow color. pale yellow color, children. And this is also what, children, consists of salts of calcium. Salts of calcium, that is calcium phosphates. And one more thing, children, it is also a harder substance, children, but when we compare it with this word enamel, it is not much harder than the enamel, but it is also a harder substance, children. Got it? So this one is a dentine, children. So this dentine, this enamel is only the what, children, above the what we call it as gum. But here this dentine is seen whole in the tooth. Okay, so this blue color we call it as what, children? This is what? Dentine. This part we call it as dentine. And next, another part, children. So this dentine, it is correctly, exactly, I mean this tooth, it correctly fits into the socket of the what, jawbone. Okay, so this, when you see this root, children, this root, it consists of a layer called it as periodontal membrane. So we call, I'll draw it with a what, red color, which is a covering over the root of this tooth, children. So we call this as a periodontal membrane. Periodontal membrane, children. Okay, so this periodontal membrane, children, and to this socket there is another what, children, layer material called as cemented membrane, or cement is completely filled in this one. Okay, so at this side also, children, so we see a periodontal membrane which is a covering over the root, children. Okay, and here to this socket as well as what, to this periodontal membrane, so we see a cement. So the help of this cement, what happens is this tooth will completely bind to the jaw. It will be very, very thin, children. Okay, so this cement, it helps in binding the tooth with the jaw. Okay, and here at the base of this what, children, root, we see two holes, children. Okay, two arches we call as apical foramen. Apical foramen. This is apical foramen. Okay, children, foramen. Apical foramen, children. Okay, so this is the structure of what, children? Tooth. So the structure of tooth contains what, children? Enamel, and the second one just below the enamel, it is a dentine. And what about the third part? The third part, it is called as pulp cavity. So this is pulp cavity, children. So the entire this part we call it as pulp cavity. So let me write it here. Pulp cavity. The third one we call it as pulp cavity. So this pulp cavity consists of connective tissue. It consists of connective tissue as well as what, children? Blood vessels. It also consists of blood vessels as well as what? Nerve fibers also. Nerve fibers. So this pulp cavity consists of what? Nerve fibers, and it is a connective tissue, children, and it consists of blood vessels also. So here, if we see the structure of the tooth, children, so three parts. First is enamel. It is the hardest substance, which is what, children? Secreted by amyloblast. And dentine, children. So this dentine is secreted by the odontoblast, children. It is pale yellow color, and it is what, children? Consists of salts of calcium. And the third one, it is pulp cavity. So this pulp cavity, it is a connective tissue, children, which contains blood vessels as well as nerve fibers. This is very, very important, children. So this is the structure of what? Tooth. The openings or the base of this a tooth, we call it as apical foramen, children. So these are the important what? Parts of the tooth. Then what about the second one, that is dental caries? What is this dental caries, children? Sometimes what happens is, so formation of holes, formation of cavities or formation of what children? Formation of cavities, or we can call it as holes, children. Okay, where? In the teeth. How? Due to the action of acid producing bacteria. So then it is called as a dental caries. Okay, so dental caries means what? It is a formation of cavities or holes, children, in the teeth due to the action of acid producing bacteria. So it is called as dental caries, children. So in other words, we can also commonly call as tooth decay. How this tooth decay occurs? So when we eat food, children, so along with the food there will be a certain kind of what? Bacteria. So when we eat a food, it consists of sugars. So this bacteria, acid producing bacteria, because of these sugar particles, children, it will digest or it will dissolve the salts of this enamel. So when it dissolves the salts of this enamel, what happens is there will be the formation of cavities or what, children? Holes. So the holes will form in such a way that so it will reach to the what, children? Pulp cavity. Got it? So when the hole is formed connecting to the pulp cavity, children, the nerve endings will be irritated. It gets what, children? Irritated. So because of this irritation, there will be an inflammation in this pulp cavity, and that results in what, children? A severe pain. So we call that pain as a toothache. Okay, so that is what has toothache, children. Toothache, isn't it? So that condition we call it as toothache. Okay, so how this is formed? Generally, plaque, children. There is another thing, children, we need to discuss. So there is a sticky covering over the what, children? This crown, which consists of what, children? A sticky covering. Okay, which is yellow, children, which is what? Yellow, and which consists of bacterial cells, children. It will form the layer. So when this forms a layer over this what, children? Crown, what happens is the saliva, it is slightly acidic in nature, children. That means what? It's an alkaline in nature. So due to the action of this saliva, what happens is, children, it will neutralizes these acids. But because of the presence of this sticky what, children? Covering, yellow covering, children, over the the crown, which consists of bacterial cells, children, this is called as plaque. P-L-A-Q-E, plaque. And because of this plaque, children, what happens is this bacteria, I mean the bacteria producing acids, children, it cannot be neutralized because of the covering. As a result, what happens? Holes are formed in the tooth. Okay, so how can we when we remove this plaque, children, by proper brushing, what happens is along with that what, children? Foam. So this bacteria also will go away. Okay, so that we need to take a proper care, children. We need to clean our teeth properly, brush our teeth properly. Whenever we eat a food, children, we must ensure that there are no food particles are resting on in between the what, children? Teeth. Got it? So, and one more thing, children. What happens when the tooth decay, that is dental caries, occurs? So there will be a what, children? A formation of what? Hole in the tooth. So generally what the dentist will do is, so he will clean this hole completely and put some cement in the hole, children. So that results in that bacteria will not cause any kind of what, inflammation or infection in the pulp cavity. Okay, so it's somewhat we can relieve pain because of what, children? Cementing the hole or the cavity. So that will be done by the dentist. So this is about what children, structure of tooth and dental caries, children. Okay, so let us recollect what we have studied in this class, children. So first thing is the teeth which are embedded in the jawbone, they are called as thecodont teeth. If you see the what children, structure of this tooth, okay, the structure or the part of this what tooth which is visible, we are calling it as enamel, and the part of the tooth which is hidden by the gum. So this is gum, children. Okay, so this gum, it is called as neck region. This is called as neck region. The part of the tooth which is embedded in the bone, jawbone, in the socket, that is what, children, root. Okay, so this enamel is secreted by amyloblast. It's a shiny material. It is a bright which is made up of salts of calcium, children, and fluorides. If excess of fluorides damage the what, children, enamel, okay, that condition we call it as a mottling. Okay, that is because of excess of fluorides, and it is the hardest substance. Then what about the next part, children? That is dentine. So dentine is secreted by the odontoblast. It is pale yellow in color. This is also consists of made up of what, children? Salts of calcium. And next, the third one, it is pulp cavity. It is a connective tissue. It contains blood vessels as well as nerve fibers, children. Okay, and what about this dental caries? Dental caries mean, so formation of cavities or holes in the teeth due to the action of acid producing bacteria, children. We call it as dental caries. In commonly we can call it as tooth decay, children. Okay, and the sticky covering, the yellow covering which consists of bacterial cells, children, we call it as a plaque. Okay, and the pain, usually the inflammation seen in the what, pulp cavity, children, in the tooth, the severe pain, we call it as toothache, children. So this is about the structure of tooth and dental caries, children. So that's all for today, children. So let us study about another interesting topic in the next class, children, and I hope you have really enjoyed this class. If you really enjoyed this class, please do subscribe and share it to your friends. That's all for today, children. Thank you.